Welcome, welcome. I was lost, but now I'm found. Welcome to Faith, Lies, and Confusion. I'm your host, Godless Reggie. It's been a while. It's been a few weeks. I've been trying to actually come on here and stream a couple of technical difficulties with my sound. That's why you see me with my headphone. So right now, normally I don't wear them. I actually forgot I even own them, truthfully. I'm having a couple sound issues with my lap. It might be time for me to get a new one. I've had it maybe 2 years. That's typically a good lifespan for a laptop, but we're here now. What's up, everybody? Today's episode is titled Cherokee Spirituality. Normally, whenever I speak about native tribes and religions, their gods, I usually mention the name. This particular one, I'm only coughing from smoking. This particular form of spirituality is pronounced unetlanvhi. I'm probably stumbling through that, but we're going to go ahead and do some research on it. I actually don't know too much about it. Um, a few weeks ago, I decided to stick with North American and South American spirituality. Um, Today, I was going to pick a different one, but I said, you know what? Because people always claim to be Cherokee so much, let's investigate who's their God, what's the name of their God, and now we're here. So I'm gonna do a little bit of reading on it, and I'm gonna get the correct pronunciation of this. Give me 1 second. Go to my favorite source, Chat GPT. We'll cross reference it, but we'll start there and let's see what we can get. Give me one moment, folks. Okay, so it's pronounced the Unetlanvhi. Unetlanvhi is a supreme being or a great spirit in Cherokee mythology, seen as the divine creator who made the world and humanity, often depicted as a loving, all-powerful entity with no human form, embodying concepts like maker of all things. I'm not going to try to stumble through the pronunciation of that word, and the one who lives alone. So the key aspects of this God, the creator God, the unetlanvhi, created the upper, lower, and central worlds and is responsible for all things, forms, and names. Also known as something else, it's the unalanahi, nohi, and the kalvivtahi, ogi, ug, and galv something. I'm not going to try to pronounce that. Representing aspects like the creator, maker, and all things, and he who lives alone. Nature, a non corporeal, omnipresent, omniscient, immortal spirit with immeasurable power involved in healing and shaping reality. Roles in the myths featured in stories like Strawberry Myth, where the creator helps a couple, and legends about fire bringing, showcasing a benevolent paternal role. The missionary influence, the term was sometimes used by missionaries to translate God, leading to confusion with Christian concepts, but it represented a deep rooted native spiritual belief. Okay. So that's very interesting what I have read so far. And actually, the crazy thing about it, I was reading from wrong, but it gave a pretty decent idea of what we're working with this form of spirituality. What I also like to do is play videos and let native people who um, have firsthand experience who this is their religion, this is their cult that they have on file. But first person is all better. So give me one moment and I'm gonna pull that up and we're gonna play a little here.
people of America had a number of stories told around the campfire of how the world came to be. Greatly separated by time, language, and natural barriers, many tribes of North America had different accounts of how the world was created. This program will of the southeastern Cherokee mythology tells of the world created by the Great Spirit, unetlanvhi, a place of nothing but sky and ocean. The sky realm, called. Having scurried across the surface of the water, Dionisi wanted to rest, but with no land in sight, he proceeded to swim down to the bottom of the ocean and brought back mud to the surface, where it spread in all directions and became the earth. Buzzard flew down to inspect the mud to see if it was safe, but the mud was still safe. The new world was dark, and so unetlanvhi reached towards the heavens and set the sun on its east to west track. But the sun was hung too low. Scorching times to unetlanvhi
Okay. All right, I like that. I wasn't expecting him to break it down like that, and I wasn't expecting him to speak on the Seminole situation. Um, that's a little tricky because I know that Seminole translates, that's a Spanish or Latin word, so it's hard to take that literally because that means somebody else named them that. You know what I mean? Well, I guess that could be said for all of the tribes. Somebody else, a lot of them, other people named them something similar to what their actual name would probably be in their native language. English tends to do that to call things whatever the fuck they want to call them. But truthfully, listening to that mythology, mm, it's very close to the truth. And I'll point out where. So when they were saying that at first the lands were just inhabited by animals. Now, if you're talking about the Americas, uh, that area, southeastern United States, that's true. At one point, there was no humans there. Human beings are not native to North America or South America, and that is amazing that they knew that. They knew that, and then they were talking about how they migrated and things like that. So I think just this is just my perspective, me from the outside looking in. I think they kind of remembered from thousands of years ago somehow that they came from out west and from the northwest. They kind of knew that, and that's dope. That's dope. I like that. I like that. They knew that they were not native to that land, and science proves that. Right? I see a lot of times when people try to correlate things with religion, right? Like, oh, see, especially, I'm just gonna point this out because I think all religions do it, not just Abrahamic. But I think a lot of times when I speak with people that are Muslims, a lot of times they correlate things and they try to say, oh, well, how would they have known that? Now, I'm not saying that this particular spirituality is true God or anything like that. I'm not saying anything like that. It's just nice that they kind of still remember after all that time because I mean, whew, they probably could have been there. I mean, they said they came there in the ice ages, right? But for them to cross in the ice ages and to make it to southeastern United States, that would probably take an additional couple of thousand years. I don't know. I'm just guessing, but that's still. Um, I'm actually going to read a little bit from ChatGPT this time. I said I was reading from it before, but I actually wasn't. I was on the wrong screen. I didn't realize until I was halfway reading through it. I'm just laughing to myself. I just didn't want to point it out until after I was done. And we'll see what they're talking about. Then I'll play another video. We're not going to be here too long tonight. Okay. In traditional Cherokee spirituality, there isn't a single God. In the way many monotheistic religions define one. Instead, Cherokee beliefs center on the Great Spirit and have many powerful spiritual beings. The most important figure is the Unu Lanuhi, sometimes spell UNE dash TLANU apostrophe HI. Considered the Great Spirit or Creator, represents balance, harmony, and the life force of the universe, not usually personified or worshipped through idols. More of an all encompassing spiritual presence than a human like God. Other important spiritual beings include the thunder beings, powerful spirits associated with storms and justice, um, the little people, the Yunhi, uh, Sudusdi, spiritual beings who can help or trick human beings. Those sound like jinns. Animal spirits, animals are seen as spiritual significance and considered, excuse me, and connected to humans. Cherokee spirituality focuses heavily on balance, respect for nature, and harmony between all living things rather than devotion to a single deity. Okay, I think that's interesting. Um, Broke it down very well. I'm glad that it didn't put too many different names of their gods and deities over and over and over, so I wouldn't keep stumbling through them. Won't he do it? I'm gonna play another video here, a little bit more from Wikipedia, and again, we're not here long, and I'm gonna get out of here. Hopefully, this video doesn't fuck up too bad. Give me a moment.
Practice that has been central to Cherokee culture for generations, honoring the seven directions. This ancient troll world, the spirit realm, and their inner selves. The Cherokee, like many Native tribes, recognize and north, as well as above, below, and within. Each direction holds different light. Cherokee to holism represents new beginnings, wisdom, and the rising sun. It's associated with spring and the color red. And the color and the setting sun. It's connected to autumn and the color black. It was night sky and the cool. By honoring these directions, the Cherokee acknowledged the balance between the spiritual and the physical realm. Inner world, our spirit, and our connections of self-reflection, personal growth, and the divine spark within each of us. Each direction is acknowledged. We gain insight into a profound way of viewing and interacting with the world around us.
Okay, that was dope. The prayers and the directions. So again, I think a lot of people who claim to be Cherokee, because to me, that's the most that I hear people claim, and it's not just black people. I hear a lot of white people say it as well. Um, I think that they should probably watch this episode. If not mine personally, because there is a little bit of skipping, I can see that, but they should really definitely invest into this. at least know what they're claiming to be. I think it's just a clear indication that the first places that the slaves came to, and a lot of people that came to the United States inland was in the South. I'm not saying that the first places they England and all that shit first, but you could see the big influences. If you are a person that is from like state, you'll still see a lot of the tribes up there as well. From my understanding, Connecticut area, places like that too. But the places that I'm actually mentioning right now, they've been so much urbanized for hundreds of years, hundreds and hundreds of years. Especially if you're talking about Boston, New York again, New Jersey, places like that. They've, the colonizers been there a long time. People been there a long time. Well, people were there before, it was the United. But those are some of the first places that they technically civilized and made cities and shit like that. Um, so, a lot of those tribes were pushed from the beginning. For example, Ohio, that's the Connecticut Reserve. So those people were from Connecticut, the state on west of Ohio, Indiana, and that was the land of the Indians that they called them at the time, which is not a true statement. They're not Indians. People from India are Indians. Doesn't make any sense. I'm sure people know the history to that story about Christopher Columbus and things like that. But let me read a little more and then we're going to get out of here. Thank you again for stopping by, taking time out to sit here and listen to me run my mouth and watch videos with me and learn with. Okay. Cherokee spiritual beliefs. Cherokee spiritual beliefs are held in common among the Cherokee people, Native Americans, people who are indigenous to southeastern woodlands, and today live primarily in communities in North Carolina, the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians, and Oklahoma, the Cherokee Nation, and the United Kituwa Band of Cherokee Indians. Some of the beliefs and the stories and songs in which they have been preserved exist in slightly different forms in different communities in which they have been preserved. For but for the most part, they still form a unified system of theology. The principal beliefs, the traditional Cherokee spirituality is woven into the fabric of everyday life. The physical world is not separated from the spiritual world. They are not they are one and the same. In her book, Cherokee Woman, Gender and Culture Change, 1700 to 1835, historian Theda Purdue wrote of the Cherokee historical beliefs. The Cherokee did not separate spiritual and physical realms, but regarded them as one, and they practiced a religion and a host of private daily observances, as well as in public ceremonies. Cherokee cosmology traditionally includes a concept of the universe being composed of three distinct but connected worlds: the upper world and the underworld, which are the domains of the spirits in this world where humans live. Unlike some other religions in the Cherokee system beliefs, humans do not rule or have dominion over the earth, plants, or animals. Instead, humans live in a coexistence with all creation. Humans mediate all worlds in an attempt to maintain balance between them. Plants, animals, and other features of the natural world, such as rivers, mountains, caves, and other forms on the earth, all have spiritual powers, and attributes. Theda Purdue and Michael Green write in their book, The Columbia Guide to American Indians in the Southeast. These features observe mnemonic device to remind them of the beginning of the world, the spiritual forces that inhabit it, and their responsibility to it. Purdue also outlines the ways that Cherokee culture persisted through multiple attempts by Christian missionaries to convert them. Their songs ties to Salu, the Corn Mother, and their creation story put women in a position of power in their communities as harvesters of corn, a role they did not easily give up. A role they did not give up easily. Excuse me. I think that is dope. That is definitely dope and interesting to know, because corn is native to North America. So I can see that makes um sense, a whole lot of sense. Um, I I'm gonna be back next week with more of faith, lies, and confusion. Hopefully, I get an interview with some people. I've been working on that lately. Working on getting a few interviews with people who have different spiritual beliefs and who may or may not be Christians, and their stories about their life. So stay tuned for that, and we'll definitely be back. Stay tuned for me being on my shows too. Product of the Podcast and Podcast Sport.